Hello everyone, this is Rice and welcome to my channel again, The Quest for Wealth. There are four factors that we tackle on this video here. So there's healthcare, housing, taxation, and immigration. The healthcare system in the province is, it can get better. There's so much room to get better, to say the least. And actually, according to a study by the Fraser Institute in 2020, patients in New Brunswick faced a median 41.3-week wait for medically necessary treatment after a referral from their doctor. When it comes to family doctor, I will give you an example. As for myself, I had to wait 2 years before I was registered with a medical doctor or a family doctor, and I have been advised that 1.5 years to 2 years is an average wait time for a family to be registered with a family doctor, and this wait is it's something that is pretty long, most especially if a person have got an urgent requirement for healthcare services. And if you go, and I have experienced this myself as well many times, if you go to an emergency room, the average wait is 4 hours onwards, and that 4 hours is not a joke if you have got an emergency case that needs to be treated. See, the major problem in the province is that healthcare providers have to undergo huge hurdles and uphill climb in order for them to be certified and practice their profession here in the province. There's so much resources and effort and money and time that they have to invest in order for them to be certified nurses or healthcare providers in the province. And therefore, what the result is that this internationally educated, majority of this internationally educated nurses would rather not practice the profession or leave the province instead of going through the whole hurdle. If they can go to Ontario or to Alberta and be certified there in 1/4 of the time and save so much time, so much money, so much effort and energy and practice their profession. So that is a major hurdle in the province. The New Brunswickers can only hope for the light at the end of the tunnel. Right now, the situation is that it is a minimum of 4 hours of wait when you go to the emergency room. It will be at least 2 years, 1.5 years before you are registered with a family doctor, and it is over 41 weeks before a person is treated, even if this person had been referred by a family doctor for treatment. So we face the longest waits here in the whole of Canada. Now, the second one is housing. And I have discussed this topic on my previous videos as well. The major problem is that when it comes to apartment buildings or renting here, there is no cap, and therefore the landlords have got an ultimate power, an overarching power over their property on whether or not they will increase the rent. There is no provincial regulation saying that they can only increase this much in a span of 3 years or in a span of 2 years. There is no such thing. And as I record this video, this is still an ongoing indifference or a topic here in the province. What happens is that these apartment buildings are being sold because the market is so hot. The owners would rather sell and take advantage of the hot market, so they sell their properties to new owners, and these new owners would buy these properties at a hefty price, an absolutely hefty price. And the reason that they buy it is to earn, of course, and profit is a major factor in such an investment. What happens is that the new owner or the new landlord has got the power to increase the rent, and therefore the renters are given two options: to either stay and pay the new rent or leave and look for a different place. So this is a whole ragnarok of issues and problems, and there are people who are forced to vacate their apartments because they cannot afford the new rent. The cost of rent is increased by this much, and the cost or the income of New Brunswickers have only increased by this much, and the difference is just enormous that it doesn't make sense anymore. If this problem continue to grow and continue to impede the people to work properly, because this is so much stress, what would the population do? What would people do? People would leave. And where do they go? To a place where they're treated better, with better housing, with better income, and so on and so forth. So, or as I record this video, there is no such regulation that caps the rent here in the province. Our next factor, the third one, is, well, it's everybody's favorite, taxation. So the provinces in the Maritimes, that's the Nova Scotia province, province of New Brunswick, Prince Edward Islands, and Labrador, Newfoundland and Labrador. These are the maritime provinces, and the maritime provinces are one of the tax-heavy provinces in the whole of Canada. Here is an actual calculation of income tax comparison. For example, you live in the province of New Brunswick, and your income is at 50,000, and you calculate that the total amount of taxes, or the estimated taxes that you will have to pay to the government of Canada, is 8,764. That's federal tax of almost 5,000, or 4,917, and provincial tax is 3,847. Now, CPP and EI is essentially your employment insurance. So the CPP is essentially your contribution plan or pension plan that you have to pay. Just focus on the total tax that you have to pay on the federal and provincial tax. That's 8,764. If we compare that to Alberta, and you say that you earn the same amount of money, the amount of tax that you will pay is only at 7,167. The federal is 4,917, which is the same, but the provincial tax is at 2,740 of payment here. Now, let us go and have another one, which is Ontario. If we go Ontario, that's pretty much almost more or less the same. The payment is at 7,244. Federal tax is the same, 4,917, and the provincial tax is 2,627. We are tax heavy and heavily taxed, really. Now, aside from income tax that we pay in the province, there is also what we call the HST, or the harmonized sales tax. Harmonized sales taxes is essentially the tax that you pay when you buy any commodity. For example, you live in Alberta and you want to buy a car that is $10,000. So let's say that. So that's amount is before taxes, and we calculated the total tax that you will have to pay is $500, and therefore will make your total cost at $10,500. But this is substantially different if you pay it in New Brunswick. At $10,000, that would be an additional $1,500 that needs to be paid. So then the federal gets 5%, and then we here in the province is 10%. That's a total of 15%. Last but definitely not the least factor that we have to discuss or we have to tackle is immigration. Now, the problem is that the province is having a problem with the retention of immigrants. 50% of immigrants coming to New Brunswick leave the province, and the province is not even aware of the facts or the reasons why this is happening. And if a family or a person who just landed here does not have to wait 1.5 years to 2 years to have a family doctor, that is a beautiful reason for a person to stay in the province. If the person needs to have a treatment and does not have to wait more than 40 weeks to be treated, that is a beautiful reason for a person to stay here. And much the same with the emergency. If a person does not have to wait 4 hours and more in order to be treated in the emergency room, then that could be a beautiful reason for a person to stay here, and therefore that will increase the population. I am hopeful, I am positive that the province is doing everything it can to retain immigrants There are beautiful reasons to stay here. I know is that the healthcare system needs improvement, that's for sure. Although me, myself, I experience beautiful things with the healthcare system here, but the rest of the population is saying differently. So there you are. Those are the four important factors that you also have to have information about. Again, no country is perfect, no province is perfect. There are always the pros and the cons, and you just have to average it out. If you believe that the kind of life that this province is able to provide to you is something that you will be happy with, and for myself, it is a beautiful thing to live here. It's quiet, it's peaceful, and it's a beautiful place, really.